It is perfectly possible to energy optimize a ventilation system without necessarily replacing the ventilation unit. One obvious way is to look at the fan, the most energy-consuming feature of a ventilation system. If the system is more than 10 years old, then it is most likely equipped with belt-driven fans. This type of fan can be replaced with a centrifugal fan, which has a combined ventilator and EC motor, as well as integrated operation that makes it a highly energy-efficient solution. This also means that a frequency converter, shielded cable and motor protection are unnecessary. ebmpapst is a German company. We have 10,000 employees and 18 factories. We produce 60 million fans a year worldwide. Let's take a look at two motors to show how their technology differs. One of them is called an AC motor, which stands for alternating current. The other one is an EC motor, which is driven by direct current. The AC motor has a lot of copper and iron that must be magnetized. It rotates when it receives alternating current from the power supply network. Basically, it's not very complicated. It just rotates, and if you want to control the speed, you typically mount a frequency converter in the front, so it can run more slowly or with increased speed. An EC motor operates in a different way. It has permanent magnets, which means it has less copper and iron and a lower loss of energy. In order to rotate, it uses electronic equipment to determine where the magnet's north and south poles should be. The electronics in the fan provide an interface to control the motor, which means all our fans can operate on a 0 to 10 volt signal. On this one, we put 31 watts in to get 7 watts out on the shaft. And on this one, we put 9 watts in to get the same 7 watts out. The 24 watts lost on the AC motor are converted into heat, which also affects the service life. The heat that is given off burns off the bearing grease, which means the lifespan of the AC motor is shorter. Before replacing an AC fan with an EC fan, the airflow and pressure on the existing fans are determined in order to dimension the new EC fans to provide an airflow similar to the existing ones. Determining the amount of space available is also important because centrifugal fans require a minimum separation distance to make it possible to calculate the energy savings and payback period. When technicians work with this, they must be able to measure the airflow and pressure above the fan. Then, when you integrate the fan, a partition can be made to divide the compartment into a pressure side and a suction side. Minimum separation distance requirements must be met, but since the new fans are so compact, there's normally always room for them. This energy-saving technology means that it can pay off to remove the old belt-driven fans in about 70% of all ventilation systems in Denmark by replacing them with a new EC fan, which translates into a 30 to 70% saving. In large energy optimization projects, ventilation is always a big part of finding the desired savings, which is also the case with lighting, pumps, and thermal envelopes. The clips we just saw were from a fan replacement in a regulated ventilation system. The power consumption prior to replacement for current CO2 emissions was measured at 510 watts. After replacement, the power consumption with the same airflow and CO2 emissions was measured at 214 watts. The energy consumption was more than halved, in spite of the fact that the previous system was frequency regulated. The high energy savings are of value to the customer and mean that the investment is typically recovered in 2 to 2.5 years. Some power companies want to buy these savings, thus providing some financial assistance. For technicians, this of course represents a major new business area that can be added to their current business. Their customers have a lot of old ventilation systems where big savings can be achieved by switching fans, which means they represent a big line of business for technicians.
Vi er jo producent, og vi støtter så grossist.
As a manufacturer of fans, we support wholesalers and technicians with advice about our technology and how to carry out energy renovations. We also do courses on how to calculate and incorporate savings.
I beregning af besparelser og måden man så indbygger dem på.